Hello, welcome. So this is daily attendance for August 28th. We're at the end of the month, which is unbelievable, right? And you're past midterm. This is going to be week 4. I am recording this and uploading this a day before, which is a day before, because then if I mention dates, everybody gets confused. So this is for daily attendance, okay? Midterms are already inputted, and most at the time that I'm recording this, I have graded almost every midterm except for 2 classes. So by the time the 28th hits, hopefully I'll have that already graded. Okay, so a couple of announcements. We're almost towards the end. I think your finals are Monday, September 18th through the 20th. We're going to keep on going, and then I'll explain things as we get closer to our final, okay? But this is week 4. Next week's going to be week 5, and we're basically going to be done, okay? So really fast and quick. Really want to thank everybody for all that you uploaded. I have had less issues in terms of students following directions. Very much complete work. So thank you very much, and thank you so much for working with me with that. When everybody does what they're supposed to, then it just goes much quicker, faster, and easier. Okay, the longer I've taken a long time to grade in this term, and the reason is that I've had a lot of people that haven't followed instructions. Okay, so if there's something that you're going to have to learn in my classes, follow instructions. And instructions are super important. Since I've mentioned this before, I'll never forget it, and it was a huge lesson. I'll mention 2 huge lessons about following instructions. Okay, and reading everything. It's important to read. I still get people that don't read, okay? I mean, most of it is verbal, but there's stuff that you need to read, like my chapter videos, right, that are lectures. It says here, this is not the assignment. This is a lecture only. Your assignment is not here. Check the daily attendance. And nobody seems to be, there's some people, not nobody, everybody sees that, but there's some people that don't. So really important about following directions in life. Okay, following instructions. Oh, something else that I'm going to say. So following instructions in life, and just being able to read, okay? And don't listen to other people. Like when I was getting my master's, I needed to be, I got a 4.0 in my master's. I think I was a 3.97 or 8. So maybe I wasn't a 4.0. But anyway, so I had to take this exam, okay? And I'll never forget it. And I was really nervous. I was getting a certification in bilingual, and technically I never took formal Spanish ever, okay? Like I can verbally speak it, and I've learned how to write it exceptionally well, but I was never schooled formally in Spanish. And so everything that I've had to learn, I've learned on myself, because I was schooled here in El Paso, and we didn't have dual language ever. And when I was growing up, and actually it was very discriminatory. When I was growing up, you couldn't speak Spanish, and they would really minimize you if you did, and they just thought you were an idiot. And all the teachers, not one single teacher would speak Spanish. And so I remember as a kid like crying, because there was things I had to say, and I wanted to, I wanted to convey in communication. And so the lack of language that I had, and the lack of communication skills that the teacher had at the time, I was like in kinder or whatever, and was just such a huge barrier, okay? And we were all Mexican. We all spoke Spanish. And so instead of them sort of figuring things out, the teachers, they just got very frustrated because we didn't know English. It was crazy. Anyway, so Spanish has very much been minimized. And just so you'll know, Spanish is probably the 2nd or 3rd language spoken most in the world. First, it's English, because English is a business language, okay? And then it used to be Spanish. I think Spanish is number 2, and then the last one is Chinese, or it could be Chinese number 2 and Spanish the 3rd one. But either way, and so Chinese, China is the 3rd in the world, or the 2nd, depending. I don't know. I haven't checked the stats on that. Just because there's a lot of Chinese, okay. But Spanish. I'm having such a hard time speaking today. My apologies. But Spanish is one of the most spoken languages in the world. And if you know Spanish, it's a part of a Romance language, as I mentioned, in our Englishes, and so it's Latin based. Okay, so if you know Spanish, it's going to really help you with your medical terminology, because if you understand the structure and the formation of the word, you know, the root words, the prefix, the suffixes, which all are very structural, okay, in every single language, then it's easier for you to learn your medical terminology, okay, like anti means against, right? So whatever it is that goes before anti is against, you know. So anyway, so got out of topic there, or maybe I didn't. So very important about, you know, doing instructions correctly. Okay, so Jesus, I forgot what I was going to say about the instructions. So let me keep on going. I'll probably remember, and this is sort of the way I am, right? So 2 things about following instructions, and 2 things about, you know, really, you know, understand. About, you know, people can't see on the lecture. So following instructions is critical, okay? So in one instance, just really simple, I was going to get a rebate for a washer that I had bought, and it was a significant rebate. And so they give you the card to fill out so you can send it off and bring it back. Well, I'm very, about that story about the test. Let me go back to that. So I was going to get a test because I was getting certified in bilingual, okay, as a teacher, and I needed to pass a Spanish test. That's why I went into the hole when I was a kid and stuff like that. And so I was really, really very worried because I didn't know my accents, or I didn't grow up with my accents, and everything that I had learned, you know, was verbal. And so I had, you know, sort of taught myself Spanish and this and that or whatever, even though I had a very high vocabulary in Spanish, you know, technically I didn't, you know, I wasn't formally schooled. So anyways, I was going into this, exam that I had studied a lot for. And while I was there pacing back and forth for it to be my time and this and that or whatever, this student, you know, or who knows who the hell she was. And so I'm there sitting, and she's there, and I hardly ever talk to anybody. That's why I tell you, when you're in interviews or when you're about to go into an exam, don't talk to anybody, okay? You know, when you're in interviews and someone's asking you something, don't talk to them. They get you nervous. You know, they might have a heads up about who you are and what you are, and they might modify their interview so that way they can beat you out, okay, because you're giving them information about you, okay, that maybe otherwise nobody else would have. And then in a test, people get you mixed up, and you don't know, all right? You don't know if they know. You don't know. Most people, you know, unless they're 4.0s or they're super, super smart, don't listen to anybody, okay? I have a lot of students that, you know, I think that, you know, listen to somebody. I had a student the other day, they're like, hey, miss, what about this and this and that? This is what they're telling me. I'm like, no. So you go directly to the teacher or the instructions, or, you know, make sure that what they're saying. And sometimes it's not even the correct class, okay? And sometimes those people aren't even passing. Sometimes they misunderstood. Sometimes, you know, because people don't want to watch my videos, they're like, what's the homework? So then they tell them, right, but they miss all sorts of instructions, and they don't get 100%. All right. So going back to my little story, it's taking forever, and this is lecture. So anyway, and this is going to serve you. So I'm there waiting for my turn, super, super, super scared because I need to pass this exam. This is a specialization, and my whole career, you know, now, okay, when I went into education was based on bilingual, okay? It was dual language based on bilingual, and that was my certification, okay? And so I had a lot riding on it. And so this stupid girl comes up and she says, what are you waiting for? What are you going to take? And we were the only people there. I was waiting for the, you know, it was 1-to-1. Okay. It was a verbal test. I think there was some written as well. And I was really nervous. Okay. And so I was waiting for the gentleman to finish the proctor, the tester. And so then this girl comes up to me, and she saw me there because I was pacing back and forth, and I was trying to remember everything. I was trying to go through it, you know, just one last time or whatever, really, really nervous. And she said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm going to take the test for bilingual. She said, don't worry, it's a piece of cake. I said, really? Yeah, I believed her, right? So I go in, all right. Shock of my life. All right, I went in, the first question I had no idea, like it was a vocabulary question. It was very high high vocabulary. I was in shock, especially since she had set me up and I set my own self up thinking that it was going to be a piece of cake. It wasn't. It took me and it was a time test, okay? It took me a good 3 minutes to sort of get a hold of the situation mentally, to be able to really hone in on whatever it is that I needed to do and hustle it, to be able to recuperate the time lost and to be able to appropriately answer. It was absolutely horrible. And in part, if I wouldn't have spoken to her, I would have probably not have left my guard down and not have gone in kind of laissez-faire, which I wasn't initially, and I would have probably done better. I, in the end, passed, but it was such a horrendous experience for me that I have never talked to anybody anywhere, and I don't trust anybody. Even if they say, oh, I don't trust them. I don't know who they are. I don't even know if she specialized in bilingual. I didn't even know she knew Spanish, okay? Because just because you're Mexican doesn't mean you know Spanish. So anyway, so very, very interesting on that. Going back to my story on the washer, right? So I bought a washer or a dryer, and I was going to get a rebate. It was going to be a huge rebate, okay? So I'm very, I'm very good, or, and I don't know if this is a proper word, very anal, okay, in terms of like contracts and stuff like that. And remember that I'm a real estate broker. So very, very meticulous, right, is another word. Meticulous, to be able to like read everything. And I always read the fine print. And this was even before I was a broker. And this was at the beginning of my career. And so, so there was this rebate, and I had to fill out the little rebate card, right? And so in it, okay, and they rip people off like crazy. So in the instructions, because I read everything. In the instructions, you had to fill the little card that they give you that you just send off. All right, it had to be all caps, and it had to be in black ink. And if it wasn't that, you were disqualified. I couldn't believe it when I read that, and it's just crazy. So obviously not everybody uses black ink, and obviously not everybody writes in caps, right? Which is proper for you not to write in caps. So very, very interesting on how, you have to watch everything, and before signing, read it. Take time to read it. Don't let people rush you in, and make sure you read it before people tell you this, that, or if somebody tells you something and you misunderstood, or you think that not, ask the source. Go back and read. Go back and reread, right? Go ask somebody that you trust, okay? Somebody that you know does well. So make sure that it's the right class. There's a lot of people that, that sometimes they do something. It's the wrong class. I mean, get it together, people. So anyway, another really good example that I was going to give you on that is that when I took and I've mentioned this before in my classes, when I took my real estate broker's exam, okay, I was previously licensed in New Mexico. So I'm dual licensed. I'm licensed in New Mexico, and I'm licensed in Texas. Because I was a qualifying broker in New Mexico, I had, already taken the national, okay, portion of the test, as well as the New Mexico, of course, license for state portion of the test. And so when I became a broker in Texas, which took forever, and that's the way the good old boy systems, that's the way the good old boys set it up, right? It takes you forever to take it. You have to do all sorts of stuff that you need to sell in order to just sheerly qualify, and you need to have a degree, which is just absolutely nuts, and it's just part of the system. Whoever the good old boys were, they're usually older gentlemen that, are Texans, and they don't want to distribute, have higher distribution or competition, right? And so when I was reading and really studying for my exam for broker, okay, there was one specific like law or requirement or, statute, right? And that I came across just by sheer luck, because nobody tells you, right? And it sort of stated that the national portion of the test, should you have, if you were licensed somewhere else, would be waived, okay? So I wrote it down. I wrote the statute number, and I wrote it down. I wrote down where I found it, and I wrote down the page. I even took a picture and then, had it hung up, and I had it in all different places so I wouldn't miss it, just in case I had two references. So I applied, right, for, because you have to apply and they have to, approve it, okay? Everybody goes through hard stuff, just so you'll know. And so I had to apply and to the, real estate commission for Texas, right? And they're like, you're good to go. You can do, your state and your national. And then I called them and I said, hey, I believe that I don't have to take my national because I already have, I'm already a broker in another state, and I already took my national portion of the test, and I already passed. And they said, no, where? The guy that I talked to in the commission had no idea about that statute. Okay, so heads up. So then they said, what do you mean? No. And then I said, yeah, statute so-and-so in this, under here, boom, 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 is where it is. So then they went and referenced it, and they said, oh my God, you're right. And then they later had to send me a waiver, right? And then they had to, because remember that all your state certifications or national or whatever, you have to get approval to be able to take the test, right? So then they had to write, whatever, I don't know what they are, the PSI, or I don't know what it is, to be able to waive it. So be mindful, and the only people that this is of interest to is you. Your stuff is only of interest to you. So make sure that you know the right people. Make sure that you ask the right questions. Make sure that you know what you're doing. Like whenever you go to a test, all right, how long is the test? What is it that you can take? I'm always cold, so I don't want to be cold in the test, right? Because then I'm going to be very uncomfortable, and all I'm going to be focusing on is being cold. So make sure that you understand, if you can't take any electronics, don't get caught off guard, right? Then all you have to do is waste time. If you get really nervous like me and you always have to go to the restroom, make sure you go to the restroom before. If you don't eat breakfast in the morning, don't eat that day maybe, because then maybe you'll feel sick. Don't do anything that you otherwise hadn't done. Maybe go to sleep a little bit earlier, right? But don't have a full breakfast if you usually don't, even though they say that you should have a breakfast. But if you would do normal stuff that you're used to, because if you're not used to, like I'm not used to having a full breakfast. If I have a full breakfast and take, maybe go to, take a test, I don't know that I'll feel good. Maybe I'll feel really sick because I'm, probably super nervous. So anyway, a really long lecture here, but I just want you to, be mindful and be smart, okay? And remember that life is about problem solving. And what it is about solving your own problems. When I became, high school principal, I said, what is it that I want the kids to know in the end? What is my, what is the goal of the school, right? So the goal of the school is for them to be at standardized testing, for them to be able to be the norm, right? The medium, so that way they could compete against everybody else that was at that level, okay? But second, I wanted them to be able to be true problem solvers, to be able to recognize the system, all right? Understand what it is that they needed to do in order to achieve getting through the system successfully, all right? And that's what school really is about. It's about understanding the system. What requirements do you have? What is it that each class requires? What do I need to pass this class? What is it that I need to do? How many classes do I need? What kind of exams do I have? What is it that I need to do, and how, in order to get my certification? How long is it going to take? How long, just everything. And so, life is about really problem solving and becoming an excellent problem solver for yourself, for the problems that you have or the challenges, to be able to be successful, all right? So I think I already mentioned that I'm pending 2 classes. Hopefully by tomorrow, when you're seeing this video, tomorrow on the 28th, it's already there. Just chill on that. For those of you who turned in late work, okay, and this is not specific to being, registered late, okay, or having class changes where the registrar changed you from one class to another and you showed up with me, but other than that, I think that there's some people that have had, coursework change or registrars or whatever, but that usually happens like on the first week and usually the beginning of the week. If you're hitting me up like this past week and say, I had a course change, I'm going to check to see if that's appropriate, and at that time I'm going to need some, proper documentation, because I don't think you're getting, course changes like second week or third or whatever. So I'm not speaking to the people that had course changes or had registrars or had SU problems or got their their dashboards or their account I can't think. They're cut off or, locked, right? And if you did, I think hopefully you already talked to me. This is people that turned in incorrect stuff. They got zeros. This is people that weren't paying attention. These were people that maybe wanted to pull one on me because some of the stuff they turned in was ridiculous. And this isn't all of you. So if you turned everything in and you're highly graded, then thank you so much. This is for people that turned in incorrect screenshots, didn't know what was going on, didn't know where to find the attendance, didn't know where to find the assignments. If you uploaded, okay, that's late work. If you uploaded, I am giving you the chance to get credit. That doesn't mean you're going to get full credit, all right? You probably aren't, and you're probably not going to, it's going to be a significant cut. You guys need to chill, all right? I will be grading late assignments, all right, this coming week. But after I get everything that's pending, that everybody uploaded on time first. It's very interesting. All these people, all these leaders that didn't do the right thing the first time, they're hustling me. Miss, did you grade it? Chill out. All right, chill out. You're giving an opportunity, because even if you get approval by the director and MA or whatever department that you're in, okay, even if you got approval for makeups, that doesn't mean that your teacher has to approve. That only means that they have the go ahead, that you've been cleared. It is always up to the teacher, okay? So never put yourself in that position, all right? My classes are super, super, super easy. For you to get it wrong, or for you not to turn in complete stuff, or for you, to be turning in lecture screenshots, that means you've never seen one of my videos. Okay, so, and for those of you who have helped other students, thank you so much. Do refer them to the YouTube channel. I don't know how you all can miss it, but anyway. So moving right along to this week's, homework. Good luck on your midterms. If you have other classes, for me, you're already done, but we also have to be moving along. So you're going to be doing chapter 4. Everybody's going to be reading chapter 4. Everybody's going to be reading chapter 4. So, and that's going to be for week 4. Okay. So I think that's it. If you have any questions or, whatever you want to meet me, I'm going to be in the library Mondays and Tuesdays, okay? I'm there from 9 to 11, so come on down. I usually answer everything, right away, so just reach out. I'm pretty easygoing until I'm not, right? So please reach out. So anyway, so chapter 4, everybody has to read chapter 4, and deadline is Wednesday midnight. All right, for your chapter 4 daily attendance. This is daily attendance for August 28th, and this is due on the 28th at 5 o'clock. Okay, so we're moving right along to English 133. Okay, A500. Let me write this down right away. So this is English 133 A500 and English 133 A501. You will be doing, for week 4, chapter 4, and you will only be doing test 1. Make sure that you copy and paste it onto a Word document. I am not, a lot of people are worried that the highlights aren't coming out and it's not showing on your end. It usually comes out highlighted on my end. Make sure that your highlights are yellow, that you're highlighted yellow, not that your letters are yellow, because if they're yellow, I cannot see them, okay? Make sure that you include everything, all the numbers, highlight the answer, highlight, in this case, there's only one test, but, title it, okay? Because if you just put in stuff there, I have students that put in stuff there, don't enumerate it, and don't, put in the number or the, letter to the answer. Well, it's impossible to know what you're turning in, okay? And it's very confusing to me. Remember that whatever it is that you're turning in, make sure that it's legible, that somebody doesn't have any confusion as to what the homework is that you're turning in, and that everybody that can see it is exactly what the homework was, okay? So that's English 133, A500 and 501. You have chapter 4, test 1 only, okay? Make sure that you copy and paste it. Make sure your name is on it, my name is on it, your class, which is English 133, and then of course your section A500 or A501. Title it, with whatever the test is, whatever it is that you're doing, and then upload it, okay? Deadline is midnight Wednesday. So moving right along to BC, All right, so BC, this is chapter 4, excuse me. Okay, you're going to do learning objectives checkup, which is at the end of the chapter, just like it always has been. You're going to do questions 1 through 19, objectives 4.1 through 4.5. Make sure you guys have done an extraordinary job, but there's a lot of you that have not. So make sure that you copy and paste all the objectives as well as all the questions and all the answers, the multiple choice, and make sure that the appropriate multiple choice gets highlighted with yellow. It has to be yellow, okay, highlighted, not the letters in yellow. All right, make sure that your letters, all your letters, it's a multiple choice, so A, B, C, D are all included, and make sure that you enumerate it. It's hard to catch, you know, some I've had some students that just copy and pasted without anything. I don't know where you are. I'm trying to figure out which one it is. So the harder it is for me, okay, the more I'm going to be I'm going to be deducting from your grade, okay? Remember that it's a copy and paste onto a Word document. Please do not upload pictures, and please do not upload PDFs, okay, unless you're having a super hard time. But part of the reason that I want a Word document is so you will understand how not to upload it in a PDF, okay? So that's business communication, all right? Objectives 4.1 through 4.5. Questions 1 through 19, learning objective checkup. Make sure that you, read chapter 4, and make sure that, the deadline is Wednesday midnight. So moving right along to English 145, A500, and A501. All right. Okay, you guys are going to do chapter 4. There is no reason why you guys are not getting 100%. All right, make sure that you copy and paste all of it. Some of you are not putting in the practices. Some of you are missing numbers, and some of you are missing letters, okay, if the letters are there. Overall, everybody's turned in really good stuff, but there's some people that don't. I do not accept pictures for homework anymore, okay, or ever, but I'm not going to put up with it anymore. If you send your homework in a picture, you need to clear it with me first, and you need to tell me what the problem is, okay? It needs to be in a Word document, and it needs to be copied and pasted. You guys have the answers. If you can't get the instructions right, you don't deserve a grade. It's that simple, because that's the only thing that you have to do, all right, other than read it, all right? You have a reference. All the answers are there. So this is going to be your homework. Make sure that you differentiate between practices and exercises, okay? So you're going to have practice 1 and 2, and then exercise 1, 2, and 3. So your homework is practice 1 and 2 and exercise 1, 2, and 3, okay? And that's going to be due Wednesday midnight. Make sure that it's in a Word document and you upload it. You have to have your name, my name, the title of your chapter, okay? The title of your homework, your class, which is English 145, and either A500 or A501, and you need to upload it, and it has to be in a Word document. Love and light. Ciao.